But if you are on the line, we are going to ask you to please not put your line on hold just in case it's not muted and just in case we end up with background music. So appreciate that very much. And Timothy, it's off to you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much for the lovely introduction, Sandra. Welcome, everyone. It's springtime here in Georgia. It's nice and warm. Hopefully you guys get a nice warm spell in Canada soon. First of all, Sandra, let me just communicate with you. You're seeing everything fine in the video. Want to make sure we're good.
Everything's good. Yes? We just need to ask you to hit the record button if you haven't already.
I already did. That's what I
perfect. There we go.
So we are recording. And then this presentation will be available, I believe, for 30 days on the cloud. So I have it set up so that you can go back and watch parts of it if you missed it or you had to be pulled away. I have some people on the line who are going to help with questions. If you have them, you can put them in the chat line. And then I'll also do questions at the end of the presentation. I'm going to try to get through this in an hour. Good luck. It's a lot of content. It'll be a little bit like an informational fire hose, I'm afraid. And it's just a universal sign for fire hose. I don't know. Anyway, my name is Timothy Mitchell. I am here in Georgia. I'm in just north of Atlanta. And we have been doing webinars for quite a while. And now it's very advantageous where it seems like everyone has to do webinars. I wish I'd invested in Zoom and GoToMeeting 6 months ago. So I have all of this material laid out, focused around what we at HP call digital decor. Digital decor is kind of a broad category. For us, it mostly includes soft textiles and fabrics. And in our case, that would be coated fabrics, uncoated fabrics, and natural fabrics like linen and cotton. So that's your fabric line. And then it also includes wall coverings of all types. And there's paste wall coverings, PVC wall coverings, non-woven wall coverings, as well as all types of PVC and non-PVC peel and stick. And then also self-adhesive. And then also it includes things like canvas, but it also includes like window blinds. It includes window treatments. It includes anything really that you would, like let's say you opened up a fancy new restaurant and you wanted wall murals, you wanted canvas, you wanted some drapes, you wanted window treatments, all of that would fall under digital decor. The digital decor component of digital printing is really where the growth market is. That's where you're getting larger orders with larger margins, but it requires a higher end finish, an attention to a lot of detail, an awareness of different products. It's not like printing on scrim banner. Okay? Scrim banner is very straightforward. 10 ounce, 13 ounce, 15 ounce, double-sided, 20 ounce, outdoor, blackout. They're not complicated. Everyone can do that. What we do with latex, we feel, is we have the ideal ink for the versatility to print across the home decor market or in the residential decor market. A big advantage for us is that our inks are water-based, they're durable, and they have no odor or smell. They're also going to meet all of your Green Guard certifications, forest stewardship certifications, all of the environmental and recyclable and renewable and green messaging we will achieve almost inherently being a water-based ink. For example, we've had Green Guard Complete Gold forever. It's always been part of our portfolio. And a lot of those things are much more important in the decor market than in the market where you're hanging a scrim banner on a chain link fence or, you know, putting a logo up on the side of a box truck. You know, that's one world. This world is indoor, and it's going to have a lot of requirements and expectations that the outdoor sign and display market may not have. So without further ado, I'm going to dive right into this. I want to start by explaining something that I did behind me here. I didn't have a chance to print an image, but what I have behind me, you see the sign, it's a print and cut. This is sort of the print and cut room, and the printer I have behind me is the Latex 315, and I'll go over some of the differences in the printers. But the process that I did here, this is a product by Neenah. Neenah is a very large international paper company, and they specialize in digital printing. So Neenah has a product which I just opened it up, and it is called the Envision Mural HD. It is a paper-based wall covering. Okay, so it's a perfect environmentally friendly paper-based wall covering. This is a paste wall covering, so you put paste on the back. What I did, I just want to show you the ease of use of the latex operation, the workflow. This is a certified media. I know that because I checked it online in the media locator, and a little bit later we'll get to the media locator. And then what I did is I went to the, loaded the material, I got a roll, I loaded it into the material, into the printer. I went to the printer panel and I said, search for media. And I typed in Nina, and then this came up and there was a little certified logo, and I hit download. That downloaded right into the printer. So it has a preset which has a speed mode. In this case, it's 10 pass, 100% density, and that's in the printer ready to go, certified. That is, we evaluated it from a 16-point evaluation and said that media will meet almost anyone's expectations and industry expectations when you print it. The value of certified media is that we've taken a look at it and said it works. Non-certified media does not mean it doesn't work. It might work beautifully, but what it means is our team, our process has not been applied to it yet. And so it may work or it may not work, we just can't comment. If you focus on the certified media, what we're giving you is a very high, well, much higher than a high probability, almost a certain probability, unless you're in very extreme different circumstances and environment, that it's gonna work. So when I download that, all I gotta do is put it in the panel. The RIP, in this case Flexi, sees it automatically, says, okay, I know what you have on the printer, and I'm good to go. All I do is hit color calibrate. I'm going to go over a few things here. I'm going to step a little closer so you can see this. All right, big head. Hopefully it doesn't cut all of me off. Most of me will be there. This is a color spectrophotometer. On the Latex 365 and on the 500 series, this comes built in. So you can actually load a media that we may not even have on the media locator, or if you, this came in as 10 past 100. Let's say you wanted a little more density. You wanted to do a 12 pass 110 or 120. All you have to do is hit create new mode, and it will generate another print mode. And this onboard spectrophotometer will read both the color calibration, closed loop color calibration to maintain color consistency over time. And then it also will create an ICC profile. So we have software built into these printers, the 365 and the 500 series, to be able to complete end-to-end profiling on the printer. This is a 315, so it does not have the spectrophotometer, but it uses a line sensor to identify the density, so it is still doing a closed-loop color calibration, not the ICC profile. But you can use an external device. I use an i1 also to do my profiles. The version of Flexi with the print and cut supports ICC profiling in Flexi with an external device. But you can just download what we have, and that comes with the profile in it. So you have a lot of options. You can use generics, you can use custom, which is what I did here. I downloaded one right from the media locator, or you can create your own. All of those are viable options with the Latex line of printers. Real briefly, just so you understand a couple things, this here is the print head. These are user replaceable print heads. They're inexpensive, they're high resolution. You are 1200 DPI and 12 picoliter drop in all print modes. If the print head gets damaged, I damaged one the other day, made a stupid mistake. It happens. You know, even after 10 years of running HP thermal print heads, it happens. You make a mistake. I'm out $125 and I was down for about a half an hour. I saw it, I tore the film off it. It was a boneheaded mistake. I let the edge guard catch it and I replaced it and I was back up and running in a half an hour. Okay, I'm out $125 and, you know, live and learn. That's a very different proposition than a piezo head. A piezo head would be very expensive. You'd be down until a service person can get there. You're dependent upon when they arrive. That could be weeks, so you could be looking at thousands of dollars and a lot of downtime. Water-based thermal heads, that's what Latex uses. That's what HP manufactures. Very easy, very forgiving. Also, we used an onboard device called an OMOS. The OMOS determines the step alignment. It also works for double-sided printing. On the 365 and 500 series, we can do double-sided printing, and I do have some materials here I'll show you that I think would be applicable to that. Last thing on the little technology gadget, I want to show you the optical drop detector. The optical drop detector identifies any nozzles out in the print head automatically, and it does this regularly through the printing operation. So if you're missing a nozzle, the optical drop detector says, we're missing a nozzle. We're going to map another nozzle to that place. Because we have so many nozzles, 2,112, you Canadians, Rush 2112, it's very easy to remember. 2,112 nozzles. I have so many redundant nozzles that I can keep putting nozzles in if nozzles are missing, and all of that is done automatically by the technology, not by you having to go through and do it. So just some basic overview of the pieces that I have here of how the printer runs. And there's one other thing I'll get to a little later, which is the ink collectors, because they're going to come into play with fabrics. And then also the platen covers are going to come into play with fabrics. And that's going to make a distinction between the 315 and 335 and the 365 and the 500 series, okay? But you can print digital decor on any of the latex line of printers. Some of the printers that are like the 365 and the 500 have a few extra features that are simply going to broaden your options with fabrics and meshes and things like that. All right, I'm going to step back around again. So I can start at any point. So I'm going to start with fabric because I think to a certain extent that's probably the thing you want to see the most. Here's what we learned with fabric, and we've been doing this a long time. Latex has always been able to print on fabric, and here's an example. Here's an Aurora linen, and there's a bunch of these here, all kinds of different fabrics. Now, these fabrics that I have here are coated and uncoated, both. Uncoated normally is done with dye sublimation. Rival technologies like solvent and UV don't print very well on uncoated. They require a coating to print on. We can print coated or uncoated. Both of them work with latex. The drawback with uncoated materials in the past was that they were too scuffy. The prints look great, but when you scuff the dark areas, it scratched and scuffed too easily. So during the fabrication process, people complained, especially if they were used to using a dye sub method, hey, the latex scratches. True. And there isn't a magic bullet. I can't make that go away because we're printing and it's laying on top of the surface. It's not like dye sublimation, which we have a line of dye sub printers. It's called the Stitch. Dye sub bonds deeply into the material. It's not going anywhere. With this, we sit on top of the material. Now, it is water resistant. You know, I can take this uncoated, this is an Aurora linen, uncoated linen, and dip it in water and get it wet. Nothing is going to happen. But if you get it wet and start scrubbing at it, you're going to pull some of the ink off. And also, if you start scratching at it, you're going to pull some off. So we had a little problem. All of our prints looked like dye sub for quality, but they didn't hold up like dye sub. We had a very easy direct print process, but we had complaints. So we got to work with a couple companies, and we decided we were going to develop a fabric that was treated, and the treatment would have no effect on the fabric. It would feel just like uncoated textile, but it would give us a better crock. Now, crock testing is what you do both wet and dry to determine how much of the ink comes off. So a dry crock test is evaluated 1 is terrible, 5 is excellent. We need to get a 4 or better on a dry crock test before we want to call it durable, okay? Now, wet crock testing is a different animal, but what we're looking to do is, can I use fabric for most sign and display applications and have enough durability on it so that when I scratch it or scuff it during fabrication, it doesn't make it unusable? And what we came up with in doing that is a product, I have it here, where is it? Here you go, called Durable Latex Textile. Okay? Durable Latex Textile. I have a whole book of them right here. And if you look on the media locator, which I'll show you a little later, I'll show you how to find the Durable Latex Textile. Durable Latex Textile means that it gets a 4 or better on a dry crock test. So for anything I'm running on fabric anymore, even though I could print just about any fabric in the world, George and Otto Friedrich, Haytex, Berger, Ultraflex, it doesn't matter. I can top value, I can print on all of them, unless it's really stretchy, like an ultra stretch or a super stretch. If it'll go through the machine, it'll look good. But I want something with a better crock. I want something that resists scratching better than worse. So pretty much all I run anymore are durable latex textiles. So here's one that's made by Top Value Fabrics, okay? In the printer, it'll be listed as Ulrich. Ulrich is the manufacturer. Top Value Fabrics and ND Graphics has this available in Canada. Okay, this is a really beautiful, the Digi Stretch. I also use a product a lot called the Digi Competition, and then here is the Supernova, also the Digi Panorama. Those are all excellent products for durable latex fabric. They have different characteristics of weight and stretch, and depends what you're going to do with them. It also depends on price point. So like Digi Competition comes in at a really competitive price point. It's 7 ounces. Everything looks good. There's very little to complain about with it because it meets all the things I'm looking for. It's reasonably priced. It's uncoated. It looks just like dye sub, and it's durable. So for most sign and display applications, including most of the sign and display you would see at a trade show from HP, that would all be Digi Competition. Also, the great thing about Top Value and Ulrich, and it's very important, you're digitally printing on fabric. It's not like printing on banner or vinyl where everything, or paper where everything is really laid out. Getting fabric on a roll and getting it on properly and ensuring that it's on there so it travels through the printer takes a certain degree of quality control, inspection, and a technology people who understand what you're doing. You are not using this for theatrical fabrics. Now, you are not cutting off pieces like at a fabric store and making a seat out of it. You've got to print it. So it has to be on the roll evenly, and it has to be placed in a way so you don't have any lumps or bumps as it goes across. Because if you do, those lumps and bumps are going to show up in the print path. You're going to get a bump. The carriage is going to scrape it, and your print will be unusable. Companies that manufacture digital fabric, as opposed to just fabric, understand that it has to go through a printer. And going through a printer is key. Not all companies are equal in that respect, and I think Top Value does a great job. I get rolls all the time, all my trade show stuff. It's my first choice when I'm using digital fabric, not because I have some arrangement with them, although we do have a close partnership, but because it works. It gets the job done. I don't have any flaws or errors. So it's my first choice that I go to when I'm looking at digital textile that's durable. Is it washable? Not really. If you get a stain on it, I would probably try to take the stain out with solvent, because solvent counteracts the water. If you try to use water and you start scrubbing, you're going to pull some of that ink up. It's designed more for trade show, display. You put it up, you leave it up. At the end of the year, you take it down. You put a new display up because you change your displays out periodically. It does not have the long-term durability or washability of dye sub, but it also does not have all of the investment and cost of dye sub. So I can take a $15,000 American dollar, I know Canadians it'll translate differently, latex 365, or even this print behind me, load up this 54-inch Digi, or 315, load up Digi Panorama, which is airtight, run this thing through, no problem whatsoever. It looks beautiful. So I can get it done for a much lower cost, and I don't need a calendared press and all this other process and procedure. Knowing how to run dye sub effectively takes a certain amount of knowledge and a commitment. What I'm going to show you here in digital decor is not just fabric. It's fabric plus adhesive back plus wall covering plus window blinds. All these things can be run on a latex. Dye sub does one thing: polyester fabric. That's it. If you don't have polyester fabric, it doesn't have a value. This runs a lot more than just that. That's not, dye sub can run things other than polyester fabric, but that's its bread and butter, what you're going to do with it. Right, so the Top Value, those are my choices. Now, mostly what you use that for, Sandra, are we still good on the audio?
Yeah, we're still good.
Great. Perfect. I check that from time to time because I had a case where the audio went out, and I don't necessarily know it's out. And everyone's texting me, and I can't see the monitor from here. And I went on for 10 minutes, and I was just talking to myself. So I check in periodically, because if the audio drops, then I'll lose you all. This is an example of what you do, a very common example. This is a Top Value product, and we've sewn silicone edge gaskets. You can use this, all this fabric for table throws, table wraps, displays of all types, but probably in the market, the most commonly used thing right now that you see everywhere is the silicon edge system. They sew the silicon edge graphics, SEG, and then they tuck it into a frame system. It can be front lit or backlit. It looks spectacular. It really looks nice. Now, since I mentioned backlit, I will cover a little bit of the backlit. And this is, keep in mind, this is a backlit fabric. The backlit fabrics that I really like, one is by HP, and this is durable backlit. This is certified for better durable backlit. And also I have one here, which is the Ultraflex Mambo. And the Mambo is sold by a number of companies. It's manufactured by a European manufacturer. Those are the two primary certified durable backlit that we have. Now, the quality on these backlits is extraordinary. You are going to be able to print and have it be as good as almost any dye sub print out there for those backlits. It will rival the very best dye sub. The only thing you have to consider is, since it's a coated backlit, when you print it, you have to roll it up or sew the gaskets in and put it in the sign and then keep it there. If you take it out, make sure you soft roll it. Don't fold it. The crease on that coating will cause a spider and it will be noticeable in the print. Now, in our defense, it's largely also true of most dye sub printing on coating as well. The coating really gives you the pop. It lets you drop a lot of ink down in there, and it allows for it to not pinhole and all these other issues. There are some backlits that they run non-coated, but they don't look nearly as good as this coated, either in dye sub or in latex. So latex on backlit is definitely a viable product. No question you can do that. So I covered the polyester durable. I covered the backlit durable. I want to move on to another product which we do uniquely. What this is a product by Premex, and Premex is natural fiber. Okay, this is the Liane Blackout, and then I also have here the regular Liane. This is like a linen product. Premex is the only natural fiber product that we have at this time. You can print directly to cotton and cotton linen blends. I have this in my window. I have a window at the door, and it's these two windows, and I have a rug right inside. And it's an old Turkish rug with vegetable dye. So if the sun goes through, it's going to kill that rug. So I put these window blinds in, and I put them, the door is metal, so I used magnet holders, and they look spectacular. It's a really high-end finish. It doesn't look like cheap polyester. It looks like really high-end linen. And that look is very hard to duplicate with, you can try, but it's not going to look the same with polyester fibers. We can print directly to natural fibers. Dye sub cannot do that. They have to change their ink set altogether. We are a pigment ink. In addition to this, there is a process that if you want to have washability, if you run this through a heat calendar press at 350 degrees, and we have a cookbook to explain how to do it, it will give you washability so you can print this and be able to wash it. What that gives you is the ability to make vertical blinds, bags, throw pillows, that kind of stuff. Because there's a treatment in this fabric that when you heat it, it activates and then connects to the latex ink. And it holds it all together in a way that makes it resistant even to washing. So natural fibers, Premex, and then you can the stuff I have in my window, for example, I didn't heat calendar because it's just going to sit there vertically and all I do is dust it. But if I had spilled coffee or something on it, I would have liked to have calendared it because then I could put it through the washing machine. Natural fibers, polyester durable, backlit durable. That is primarily the durable fabric argument for latex. There's a few other variables to keep in mind with the latex, and I want to show you one. This is named Ultraflex Ultra Poplin S240. Now, I know that ND Graphics has this exact product, which is sold as Seal. It's like the True Color or something like that. That's effectively the same as this. It's identical. It is a very nice fabric. It's easy to cut. You can use a rotary cutter. It doesn't fray. And you can print on it coated. The coating is going to give you a really nice color pop, even running at higher speeds. And it's very easy to use. fabrics that are coated or that are what we call airtight, you can use those fabrics in any of the printers. You do not have to run with the ink collectors, and it's probably time to introduce the ink collectors. This is an ink collector. I didn't put it with my fabrics because it has quite a bit of ink on the surface of it still. There's 2 of these on a 365 or a 500 series. And what we use them for is it has these little blue inserts. The blue inserts have foam. If you're running a fabric that's porous or a mesh or anything where ink is going to go through, hold your fabric up to the light. You have a bunch of pinholes, okay, that means ink's going to go through. If you hold this coated, this True Color from Seal, nothing's going through because the coating prevents the ink from going through. The Panorama by Top Value or the Impact, that also airtight. It's woven in such a way that ink is not going through there. In those cases, you can run on a flat platen and you do not need to put the ink collectors in. But if you have porous material, you put these in. As you can see, I had some mesh. It went right through. I definitely needed these. There are 2 of these. It's easy to change in and out. It probably takes 30 seconds. You can replace these blue inserts as the foam gets old or full, and then you just put another set in. These are the ink collectors. Definitely handy, and it gives you a little more range when you're printing with a 300, 365 or 500, because you don't have to worry if ink goes through. You just put these in, and it takes care of it. Those are your ink collectors. So coated, uncoated, or latex coated, if you will, and then also natural fibers and coated Blackout. Next, I'm going to move on to wall covering. Wall covering is largely, I think, divided into paste, self-adhesive. In self-adhesive, you have peel and stick, and you have materials that have their own paste on the back of it. With paste, I divide it between PVC and PVC-free or nonwovens. And then also you have a few oddball things that are in there. So let me get started here with peel and stick. Indie Graphics gave me this, and I printed on it. This is by a company called Dry Tack. Now, Dry Tack is a very large manufacturer. They have all their own coating units. They have a huge selection of media. And this is the Dry Tack Retack Canvas 150. It is a canvas textured, repositionable, removable wall graphic. Okay, it looks great. It's very high end. When you peel it off here, you have a liner. And so people who are accustomed or comfortable with peel and stick products, this is very easy to use. If you can do fleet installations, doing wall covering like this is a breeze. And this is what a lot of those people tend to use. There's a whole bunch of products along this line. For example, Avery also has a nice line of textured, this is called crushed stone. They also have stucco. These are all peel and stick wall covering products. Also, Aurora has a new one called Taffeta. Phototex is very big in the market, and we have that certified as well. Avery 2611. This is not textured. I have a roll right behind me. Avery 2611 is a perfect choice for a low-tack wall film that's a little thicker. It's matte finish. This is what we at HP use for all of our trade show displays, because we have these big melamine walls that we do for trade shows, and we print on this Avery and then just stick it up, and when the trade show's done, because it's not a super aggressive adhesion, take it right back off again. It's very, very easy to do. And then just a few others. I have the MacTac, and I have Presto. These are all PVC, peel and stick. Often they use an embossment to create a texture on them. That is a big part of wall decor. It's also a big part of wall decor if you want to use this as a print and cut. So behind me I have the 315. I don't know if you can see the cutter a little bit. I'll roll it forward anyway. So what I did is I printed on this Avery wall film, and I printed like a nice image that I think would look cool that you could put on the wall. And so it's done in a print and cut. I use the Flexi software to bring it in to create the cut contour lines. And then I took that and then you could stick it up on any wall. It's perfect. And so it's a very easy way to use print and cut with internal decor and put things up on the wall that also can come off the wall without a lot of fuss. Keep in mind, your adhesive levels for all these different materials, they're designed to do different things. So some things on a wall, you want to have enough adhesion to stay put for a long time, and other things are temporary. I used to do a lot of temporary car shows. We would do the event for 6 months, and then it all had to come down. So if somebody ordered the wrong vinyl and it was like permanent, oh my goodness, it would tear all the drywall out, and we'd have to call in a whole drywall crew. So you got to just be aware that there are different SKUs for different purposes, for different durations, and that's very important to both commercial and residential install. There's another wall covering I want to cover here because it's really important. This is made by HP, and I think this illustrates a couple things. This is the HP PVC free. Hopefully you can see all this stuff okay. It's the PVC free durable wall covering. This is a commercial grade paste wall covering. Paste. It has the waffle back, and it is designed to meet Type 2 requirements. So if you don't know, in the US, Type 2 is a process of evaluation of commercial grade wall covering, and the wall covering itself will be Type 2 if it's not printed, but if you print on it, then the surface that you printed also gets evaluated. Type 2 is not just scuff and scratch. It's ketchup and mustard and cleaners and coffee and tea. It's a very long list of things that they throw at the wall covering. If it meets Type 2 requirements, that means that you could go to, say, the Hilton hotels and do the whole wing because you are commercial grade wall covering. This HP product, durable suede, and we also have the smooth suede, is a PVC-free commercial grade wall covering that meets Type 2 expectations with no lamination. So there was a big hospital job here at, in Atlanta, and we really pushed the customer to understand the value of this wall covering because it's Green Guard certified, Forest Stewardship Council. It does not mold on the back. There's none of the issues with PVC which retain potentially mold. It's breathable, and it meets Type 2. It has no odor. Everything you could possibly want in the sensitivity of a hospital is right here. And because it meets Type 2, if you have to clean it, it does not take the wallpaper apart. You can clean it, use all sorts of different cleaners. It's a remarkable product, and it illustrates, I think, how durable our inks really are on a smooth surface. You know, we can achieve an excellent durability, scratch and scuff resistance without having to put a laminate on a wall covering like these Type 2 wall coverings. And then the other HP product, which I wanted to show you, is Self-Adhesive. So that one over there is paste. Okay, you bring in the crews, they put paste on, they put it up. It's not a DIYer. This is the DIY ideal. It is the HP. It is also PVC free, but it's a self-adhesive wall covering. It has a potato paste on the back. So if you have no skill set to put wall covering, which describes me, I'm going to get this wet. I'm going to dampen down the wall with a little sponge. I'm going to slide it in place, and I'm going to tap it all down. We have a whole bunch of videos on how to do this. Then I'm going to take the next panel. I'm going to get it aligned perfectly, and I'm going to tap it down. You can't do that with paste wall covering. You can't really do that with peel and stick. You can a little bit with the repositionable stuff, but really you want to get it aligned and commit. This allows you to sort of align it and commit while you're in action. So for a husband and wife team doing the basement, this is a perfect product, the HP PVC free self-adhesive. And there's a lot of companies out there that make variations of these self-adhesive. I know Still has one. I also know Alstrom makes one. Drytech may make one. Nina may be developing one. All that is entirely open. Just kind of look and see what's out there. And definitely use the media locator to narrow down your search. Those are your core pieces of wall covering. Now, moving to what in the US is most widely used, probably also in Canada, you're looking at Dreamscape. Dreamscape is my primary PVC partner. So if you're going to do commercial grade wall covering, much like this HP is designed towards commercial grade, it's paste. Serious wallpaper people are paste. If you're really into wall covering, you do paste. You do not do peel and stick. That's like anathema. And peel and stick is mostly for people who come from vehicle wraps and installations along that line who want to do wall covering. Nothing wrong with that. But the serious heavy-duty wall covering people are all paste. This is a product by Dreamscape, who we work very closely with, and it is called the High Performance Suede, or HP Suede. They also have all their products now with the newest generation of high-performance treatment. What Roy over at Dreamscape did is he wants to make a wall covering where the surface of the wall covering is as even and consistent as smooth as possible. Every single type that has a different surface is a different embossment, but they're fundamentally the same. And that treatment, that coating is applied, and it has to be applied evenly and it has to be applied uniformly. That is what they achieved with this wall covering. And I'm running Mystical on one of the printers right now. You have the Suede. There's a long line of them that are all high performance. The high performance is specifically designed to be highly compatible with digital printing. There is a regular line of Suede, but the high performance line is a little better for the consistency. If you were doing solid colors like this red and you had a bunch of panels, I would recommend the high performance because you want to make sure all of that red is aligned and uniform across the panels. If you use the regular Suede, some of that coating may not be as good as other parts of it. It would look fine with a photographic image, but when you're doing solid color, I would definitely switch to the HP. And as far as PVC wall covering, there's a lot of companies that make it, Core Graphics. I use Dreamscape. I think Dreamscape is an excellent product in this category. They know what they're doing. They've been a partner with HP for the last decade. Every new product they come out with, we test and evaluate, and I've run hundreds of rolls of this stuff. So, and I know that ND Graphics carries the Dreamscape line. I really don't think for PVC wall covering, you would do better. Now, Dreamscape also has a couple PVC-free products, among them Terralon, which is very similar to the HP Suede, and they also have the Nolar. I believe they still have the Nolar, which is going to be a little more similar to the HP self-adhesive wall covering, but that is also a paste-based wall covering. And then Dreamscape also does have peel and stick products, you know, like the Caviar. They're not going to miss out on that opportunity. There's a lot of people that prefer to install with peel and stick, and right now it's a, you know, it's probably split 50-50 in terms of a lot of wall covering murals. Okay, so those are your core products. PVC, paste, then you have nonwovens, which I think this HP falls under, and also nonwoven also still makes a very nice nonwoven wall covering. I have one here, which is by Dixon Jet-Tex. And that is a French company, and they make a nonwoven wall covering. Sill makes some very nice nonwoven wall coverings. Alstrom, those are PVC-free, paste-based wall coverings. The Europeans in particular, and this may also be true in Canada, they have mandates that you can't use PVC wall covering. Here in the US, we use a ton of it. In Europe, they don't use it because the European Union largely regulated it out. So they use almost exclusively non-woven products in the European wall covering market. So there's a little divergence there. Let me see if I can find my non-woven thing. These are all non-wovens. The HP Smooth, the Dixon, Omni makes a very nice non-woven. Nina, this paper behind me is a paper-based wall covering. That would be a very good choice. That is also certified. Sill makes a nice embossed wall covering. This is absolutely beautiful. They also make a very nice design to wall, which has a beautiful white point on it. These are all Dreamscape Terralon. These are Alstrom Easy Life. All of those are PVC-free products that are directed towards the development of the market, which is really moving towards nonwovens and away from PVC. But in the US and probably for a large part of Canada, I don't see PVC going away anytime immediately soon. I brought some paper just because a lot of times you're doing it printing displays and stuff. I'm going to keep the paper part really simple because it kind of is. I think Nina has a very nice selection of poster papers that I use for a lot of these applications. The Nina Endura 150, for example, and then I also use the Nina Endura 225, the poster print. I think these both look really good. The Nina also is what we call a wet strength paper, so if it gets water on it or something, it doesn't deteriorate. It's very resistant if you get climate shifts and things like that. So I do tend to use it's listed here as Fibermark, but it's the same. The Nina Endura line of papers I think are really good. And Indie Graphics has a nice line of paper products. Moving on to canvas. A lot of the canvas that I have here is either Aurora, Tara Fredericks. I have a lot of Sill. You can run just about any canvas under the sun on this. All of the canvases work really well. Ultraflex True Giclée, Tara Fredericks Semi-Gloss. Aurora has a nice line of natural cotton that you can print on. It has that sort of almost burlap texture and the really strong smell of the canvas. HP has a nice line of canvas. Sill has a nice line of canvas. I think Indie Graphics sells Gerber, and they have their own line. Canvas, Latex largely owns a big chunk of that market. We're very, very good on it. If the canvas is matte, we print matte. If it's gloss, we print gloss. You don't have like a lot of the solvents where they only print gloss on a matte canvas, which defeats the purpose. Plus, it's really key with wall coverings and fabrics and canvases. You're going to install these in high-end commercial and residential situations. You cannot have odor. And UV has a very noticeable odor, and so does solvent. Latex does not. There is no odor associated with it. The only smell you're going to have is when you heat up the product somewhat, and that almost immediately dissipates. It's not like UV inks or solvent inks, which do have a residual odor, and sometimes that can last quite a long time. I don't have gaffs off. There's none of those issues associated with latex. I want to cover a little bit of self-adhesive and then also window treatments. What I have here, and so I'm going to go over a few. This is the 3M Envision 480. The 3M Envision 480 is a kind of a universal film. It is environmentally friendly. Okay, so they're not using PVC. It's called the Envision film, and 3M designed it specifically to not only be able to wrap vehicles, but also if you wanted to wrap brick or anything else. So if you have a surface inside that you want to cover and the surface is irregular or uneven, cinder block, anything along those lines, that's what you use. You get it on the wall, you get a heat gun, and it digs right into it. So you can cover a lot of materials with it because it's very flexible, it's very elastic. It's designed for contours on vehicles, but the 480 has a lot of other applications. I mentioned the Avery 2611. That whole category is huge. I mean, Catalina, Avery, Dry Tack, what those are is all peel and stick adhesive, either PVC or PET. And I tend to like stuff that's a little thicker because latex has such scratch resistance that's so good that I don't need a laminate most of the time. There's a very large number of things that I just don't use laminates with, as long as the vinyl is heavy enough to have some memory. So if I can take up the laminate process, I definitely do it because it saves me a lot of time and money. There are cases where I have to put a laminate down, like floor graphics, I tend to. I'll use an anti-slip laminate, some long-term outdoor stuff, maybe indoor if it's in a really compromising thing with a big busy restaurant or a fitness club where they're throwing medicine balls at it, I might laminate. But a lot of the peel and stick wall films, I tend to go thicker, skip the laminate. It's up to you, but that tends to be my strategy. Moving to window films, this is, it's hard to see because it's clear. This is, I do a lot of translucent. Now latex does not have white ink, so I have two options with window film. Oh, three. I can do white, I can do perf, or I can do clear. Perf is pretty straightforward. I print on the various thicknesses of perf. I have a lot here. I'll show you in a second. I use a lot of clear focus, but Avery, 3M, Arlon, everybody makes some kind of perf. There's perfs everywhere. And it's really a difference in the hole size depending on what you want to do. Then you have clears, like the Avery SF100. We use a lot of that here. That is an optically clear film. The 3M clear film. HP has a very nice clear film. Orifal, Oracal clear film. And then Drytech has some really nice clear films. Fantastic stuff. The Spot On series is really good. And they have all of this, and I'll show you in a second, they have all of this, it's kind of like a mid-range for windows. Let me show you what I mean. This Orifal is a translucent window film. So you could, normally that's designed more for light boxes, but you could put this in a window and you're going to have a strong image, but it's going to be translucent, so you're not going to have that much light going through. It can overwhelm a window unless the window gets a lot of sunlight. What Drytech has is some films that are designed to be like intermediate. It's like almost like a daylight. And it gives you a moderate window so you don't have a ton of sunlight and you still get a good part of the image and you can still see through it. It's kind of the best of all worlds. Drytech has a very nice line and they're all certified. So these are your clears, your window clear. The clear would be like, let's say I want a window and I'm doing a display. I'm doing a floral thing for a fashion event. I would take the clear. I like clear with a white liner so I can get it to the cutter. HP, for example, has a nice white liner on their clears, the prime clear. And then I print on it and then trim it out with cut lines, and then I peel it off and stick it around the edges of the window, and it frames the whole display. It looks fantastic. It's a very nice way to have decorative images, but still be able to see through the window. When you get into things like static cling, like white static cling, we use a lot of general formulations. Those go in the window and they're clear. Also the Drytech, I think it's called Spot On. That stuff can go in the window, but it's clear. It blocks the window. And it has like a little suction cup technology, and you can cut it, but keep in mind, you can't see through it. It's opaque, and it's designed to be. So it just depends what you want to achieve. I set the, oh, here it is. Yeah, here's the Seal Easy Dot. The Drytech has the Spot On. It works effectively the same. They both print beautiful. General Formulations, white cling. I use a lot of Clear Focus. They're a very big window perf manufacturer. All the different lines of Clear Focus. Avery, Arlon, 3M, I run them all. And a lot of that stuff is also certified for latex. Some oddball stuff. We've been working with Awnings. So Awnings, Sunbrella. Sunbrella has 2 SKUs. We think we're going to secure a 5-year outdoor durable warranty with Sunbrella, but you can print directly onto these awnings. This is just another awning. And then you have window shade films, blackout films. I use Versailles quite a bit because they're available in the US, and I trim these and use these as blackout roll down film. So a lot of the windows here in our demo center, they're automatic, and you just press it, and then the light block film comes down, and then it, you know, shades the room, and then when we want to have them back up again, we have them back up. But they're all digitally printed, and they all have interlinking images that connect them all together, and they're all custom. That is a big potential decor market, is window block films. Versailles is very big here, and then also we use Junkers and Mueller. This is primarily imported from Europe, but get with Indie Graphics and see what they offer, what might be available. This is weird. This is leather. It's actually printable leather. I don't know where they got a cow to get on a roll, but I don't want to see the plant. But it works, and I was able to print on it. We also print on a lot of upholstery type products and things like that. This is visual magnetics, and there's a lot of versions of this out there. It's essentially an inverse magnet system. What you do is you have a strong magnet that you put with film on the wall, and then you print on this, which is a point-of-purchase, point-of-display film. It is charged with iron, and the iron is attracted to the magnet that's stuck on the wall. So you commit to putting a magnet on the wall. It's like a film, and then you just print this, and anytime you want to take it down, all you have to do is just roll it down, roll it up, store it. So if you had a space that was changing out all the time for the holidays and you didn't want to have to rebuild it, this is a very inexpensive way to print on a printable ferrous film that will attract to a wall, and then you can save it all and reuse it because you don't have to tear it down. For a lot of our trade show stuff, I have asked them to take our big melamine panels and have the magnet put on them, so that all I have to do is print on these rolls, and then we don't need any experts. I mean, we could get marketing people to peel them off, roll them up, and put them up. I don't have to have skilled people at all, because it's just peel it off with a magnet and then save them. Why pitch them? You might use them again. So that is a visual magnetic. A lot of companies have made versions of that more recently, but I think that falls under this category. I'm going to mention these a little bit just because they're here. And this is, I don't really consider Scrimban or anything that part of digital decor, but I can think that some of the non-woven banners and stuff like that might fall under it because they can be displays. DuPont, I use a lot of DuPont Tyvek. Dixon has a nice jet up. It's like a textured PVC free. I also use a lot of stuff from Berger. The Matisse canvas. Seal makes a whole line of this kind of stuff. And then also there's some products like Coveris Magic. This is a Renew banner, which is done with 100% recycled water bottles. And those products, I think you're also telling a story about your environmental and sustainability message with the product itself. So when we do displays with that 100% recycled water bottle, the display itself becomes a talking point as much as the display's content. They're both talking points. We're going to emphasize renewability, sustainability, green, all of that, because HB Latex has been about that from day one. We have always been the sustainable ink, and everyone else is insolvent, is not sustainable, and it's environmentally harmful, and it's not good for you to be breathing it. So when we switched over, everything went over with it. Now I think the industry has caught up to us and is finally recognizing the value of what we can do. There's another thing I want to show you here because this is really cool, and I just saw that ND Graphics carries this. I've been playing around with this. This is a product called Squid. All right? Squid is a textured fabric window film. Now, I'm about to put this in my front windows. So I'm taking the displays that I have down, and I'm going to put the Squid up because it looks really cool. And this is chalk, and you have all these different surfaces. What I did is I printed an image that when I peel this off, it's going to go right into that window, and it's going to look really high-end. I mean, it's got a fabric texture to it, so it doesn't look like window perf. It looks like fabric textured window. You can put it like that at all kinds of privacy windows. It's a little expensive, but you're talking about high-end retail, like, you know, those big high-rises in Toronto, and you want to have like windows that you can't see in places. You want a certain degree of privacy in the rooms, but still have it look really high-end, and then it's printable. So if you want to do custom graphics in it, you can get yourself the privacy, have super high-end look, and it's all digital. And that's an enormous advantage, I think, for latex. I think this is a really cool product. Latex on Decor is not necessarily focused on the bottom line price. Okay? I'm not in the scrim banner on a chain link fence market. I'm in the high-end decor market. I want those big jobs. I want the custom jobs. I want the jobs where the client is super environmentally demanding, because I'm going to marry that with an ideal fabric, an ideal product, an ideal wall covering, and then have all of those certifications. It's REACH compliant. It's Forest Stewardship Council certified. It's Green Guard certified. The inks are water-based, and on and on. And all of that is really important to that industry, and I think the latex really targets it well. I'm running a little low on time. I'm going to go over some of the software really briefly. So I'm going to switch from this camera to a screen share on the computer here, because I want you to see some of the support software that we offer to do this, especially the Media Locator, but a few other things. So I'm going to run just a little bit long, and then we'll take some questions. So I'm going to turn around and do this. Click on this real quick and screen share.
So just to update everyone, while Timothy's doing that, I've been furiously answering all your questions in the chat room. So keep the questions coming, and I'll just continue to answer as fast as I can. Thank you, Timothy. Keep going.
Okay. Screen share. Okay, so what I have here is I wanted to kind of go over what you guys are all seeing my my new screen, right? Yep, it looks that way.
Yes, we are. Yep.
So what I have here is, first I want to cover PrintOS. PrintOS is a cloud-based login that you get. It's all free. It comes with the printers. And this allows you to link to all these different support components that we have. Think of PrintOS as like a shopping mall. It's a big mall. And in it, there's a whole bunch of stores. And all of this is supported by HP. It's analysis of the printer. It's analysis of all the workflow. I mean, it's huge. It's absolutely enormous. And this is designed to support you from a single drop location. For example, you have the configuration center. So all of my printers, firmware updates, packages, color calibrations, everything is on there. And then you also have, like, here's your login page, who I am, where I am, how many things, all the pre-flight stuff. I mean, it's robust. This is the media locator. And the media locator is how you use searchable for various products that you're looking for. And let me show you a couple. So you go to Latex. This is a really key tool that we do that I think we offer a support level that no one else does. So you click filter and you say, what printer do I have? So next to me is a 315. So the entry level 315, and then let's say I wanted to look for dry tack. You can see there's a very long list of products. So here's dry tack, and I hit apply. And dry tack has made a very large investment in HP. I'm going to go to 25 because look at them all. These are all medias that dry tack has sent into HP to be tested for certification. The logo means certified. And if you scroll down here, they're all, except for the Polar Grip White, which I can't imagine why it's not certified, but it's profiled at any rate. All of these are certified. The little logo or half the logo means it has a certified mode. So there's a lot of it. So all your spot on white, your spot on clear. One that I forgot here, which I'll bring back up again, which I had kind of underneath here, unfortunately, is the non-flip spot on floor graphics. So they have a textured floor graphic, which printed beautiful. And, you know, Sandra just sent me the roll. I don't have to do anything because all I got to do is scroll down to the floor graphic and download it. There it is, spot on floor 200. So I loaded in the printer, clicked on the printer menu, downloaded it. This told me what was in there. I see that it's certified, and I'm all done. So you do not have to reinvent the wheel. You get custom presets for every media that's certified, and it makes your life very, very easy. If you stick along this certified roadmap, your adventure into digital decor will be made much easier than if you try to do it all yourself. If you want to do it yourself, great, good. You know, get the i1, the 365 has onboard and 500 onboard color profiling. You can make all your own modes. Not hard to do. It's super easy. But if you just want to download prearranged stuff, it's all there for you. That's the media locator. Then you have the knowledge center. Oh, good, it's back up again. It was down a little earlier. I don't know what's going on in Europe these days. So this is our team in Barcelona, and what they do is anything that's connected to latex is on here. It's like a huge blog. It's got all of these various support components, and you can type in information like cookbooks. Oop, not cookbook, cookbook. So customized clothing with HP latex printers. Window graphics. It's waiting. Waiting. Are we going to get a page? Yes. So how to do customized clothing, and then they have a whole cookbook connected to it in a PDF. Anything you want to search for, it's going to be on the Knowledge Center. And we have a whole bunch of information on there. Then we have support videos. So these are mostly my videos. So if you go to the HP support on the YouTube channel, YouTube HP support, and you type in latex, you will see a whole ton of videos. Okay? There's a whole bunch of them. Not all mine, but mostly. So there's like all different, like, there's like really, no, there's really fat me, and there's fat me, and there's, he's trimming down here. Look at that. So I can study my weight program like right here on these videos. Oh, he's down to a short sleeve shirt over there. See, if you're heavy, you wear a suit jacket because you think it hides it. But, you know, at 350 pounds, you're not going to hide very much. Mesh fabric. So all these here are specific videos on anything you want to know. And so if you want to start doing durable textiles, I have it on durable textiles. Latex, let's say you want to do paneling for wall covering. You want to understand, what do I need to know about latex paneling and tiling? Well, I have a whole bunch of videos on tiling and preparation for panels. Or you can type in tiling. These videos, there's hundreds of them, and they really are, I think, helpful, because what I try to do is take all this stuff that I know, overview of preparing a job that requires panels or tiling. That's all you wallpaper people. Okay, that's you right there. That's what I made that video for. I wanted to make things easy. You also, for example, Flexi has a whole bunch of training videos, so depending if you're using Print and Cut or Onyx or Caldera, they all have videos. Onyx has a ton of videos as well. Then we have our application center. This links in from the media locator, or from the Print OS, and this is like a whole episode in and of itself. So what you have here is you log in. This is all free, and your customers can log in and create all their own stuff. So if you typed in canvas here, you're going to get this. Oh, do you want to do a multi-canvas or a regular canvas? Oh, I want to do a multi-canvas. Well, how many rows? Or regular canvas. Select the size. So I'll just go, okay, that seems like a good size. And then it walks through a little tour, so I'll skip that. And then over here, you have the ability to put all the content you want, and your customers can upload it. Or your customers can upload content. So depending on which site, I have a bunch of content on here, and then a customer can load it into there and then create their own canvas. And it will even do gallery wraps for you. And then when everything is done, so these are various backgrounds. Pattern design, Dreams Time, HP Mosaic, Radiance, patterns, photos. It has every application, and then it really is a matter of building your own content. So if you have content you want to link to, you can have your customers build all their own stuff. See, we try to make this very, very easy. So if you have family photos and things like that, they can go on and load all their own thing. And then we have a Print OS, which is a mobile app. We got some videos for that on how that works, on how to, basically what I do is I have 7 latex printers. I'll load all 7 and I go home. And my mobile phone app basically tracks all of them, makes sure everything is working, ensures that nothing is missing. I come in the morning and it's all ready to go. And then the last place I think you need to look is, I spend a lot of time, ND Graphics has a phenomenal media team, and they have a huge selection of medias here. So you look into all of these textiles, wall coverings, you're going to see a whole bunch of videos, like there's the Squid. You're going to see a whole bunch of media, but you're also going to see that a lot of this stuff is also on the media locator, especially like a lot of the dry text stuff. So Avery Dennison, we talked about that a little bit. There's the 2611 wall film. There's the 2600 series, the textured wall films. Look at all the Dreamscape stuff. They're a big, big Dreamscape reseller. And then the dry tack, the retack stuff, Nina, that's what I'm running over here. So they have a lot of stuff that's available. Their knowledge of it is excellent. Their service and technical teams are top notch. And then a ton of it is lined up as durable. So it's built into an HP integrated system very, very well. So I'm going to stop the share here. That should go back to, does it? Yes. It went back to the, sometimes the video just has a mind of its own. And we're back. All right, so I think that covers what we can cover for digital textile, digital decor for 1 hour, a little over. And I guess, Sandra, I'll open it up for questions if you like. I don't know whether to do a direct audio or whether to have them chat a question, or if there's a question that went through the chat that didn't get answered, or any way I can help. How do you want to handle it?
So far, I think I've been able to answer everyone's questions. If it was sent to the group and I replied to people privately just to make sure there wasn't too much content going back and forth. But for the most part,
Sure.
I think we're okay. However, if anyone does have anything, I know the number one question is, will this be recorded for future reference? And yes, we are recording.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Actually, attend.
I click record to the cloud. I hope it works. I'm assuming
so
everyone's recording to the cloud right now around the world. So I don't know how the infrastructure must be overloaded.
The cloud might start looking like thunderstorm weather at some point. However, Attend has just put a question in with regards to traffic signage products on the HP.
Hold on. I set these aside because I didn't think we would get to that for the decor. Because, you know, traffic isn't really decor.
Well, if you want to hold that for just one moment, I do have another decor question, if we can hold on the reflectors just for a second.
I'll do the traffic after.
Adrian was just asking about loading fabrics into a 365 because he's finding that to be a challenge.
I didn't bring it with me, but you know that there's a loading, you know, so first of all, there's I call it the fly swatter. It's like a big, long plastic thing with these magnetic flaps, because most fabric won't load in. So I'm assuming you're using that because you got to load it in. And then I have it set to auto load so that when you feed it in, the motor on the printer will sense that tip of it, and it will grab it and feed it forward. Doing it manually, it doesn't slide in very well. Now here's the deal. Fabrics are different. Some fabrics, like it's a perfect example. I have two top value fabrics. The Supernova has some weight to it, okay? It's almost like a banner. I could probably almost load this without even using the loading tool, the feeding tool. But if I used it and then I loaded it on and I did not put it to the take-up reel, it would probably still travel forward okay. Especially if I don't have the ink collectors in, which tends to have a dip. If you have a flat platen, which I could use on that because ink is not going through that. I'm only using the ink collectors when I have to. Now, if I were to load this Top Value Fabrics Digi-Stretch, okay, this is floppy. It has a dimensional stretch in one direction here, and this is not going through and without the loader. And then once it's on, you probably can't run it without putting it on a take-up reel. Probably. Some coated fabrics will run okay without a take-up reel. As a general rule, you got to put fabrics on a take-up reel because you have push, you know, the pinch rollers are pushing, and then you have to kind of pull. It has to be both at the same time. Most dedicated fabric printers, whether it's a dye sub or whatever, there's tension front and back, and that fabric has to have that. And a lot of them will have separate bars to wind it on. So if you don't have that tension, that fabric ain't going to go forward. So you're going to have to eat some or staple on, or it's hard to tape with fabric because it doesn't accept tape. Try to figure out some way to put a leader on if you don't want to waste any. But make sure you don't get any, if you're using staples, make sure you don't get that in the way of the printer. I have had people use, you know, you can staple on and then, you know, bring it down. That's really, for some fabrics, there's no way around that. The distance from the printer to the take-up reel on a 500 series is much shorter, so there's less waste in that respect. Some fabrics you don't have to deal that with. Now, if you're loading it up and you're letting the printer go through its initiation point, here's what you have to remember. If that fabric is going to need tension, it needs take-up, but you do not have it on the take-up reel yet and the printer is going through its evaluation process, you have to stand there and hold it and act like tension with your hands because you are the tension. So I tend to leave the threader on as some weight and it evens it out. And then I stand there while it's loading and make sure it gets through the loading process because I am physically acting as tension. And then once that's done, then I can roll it forward and put it on the take-up reel. If it won't get through the loading process without tension, that means it's got to go on the take-up reel. It just won't travel any other way.
Sorry, just to clarify for the group, the 365 automatically comes with the take-up reel, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank
the
you.
only printer that does not ship with a take-up reel is the 315 and the 115. I recommend getting the take-up reel on the 315 when you purchase it. But all the other printers have take-up reels that come with them. The 500 series has an updated take-up reel, which I think is it holds a little more weight, and it also has a shorter throw before you get to the take-up.
Okay.
Hopefully that answered your question. Sometimes people also will use, like, say, Burger Samba or something like a thin coated fabric, and you have it on the take-up with a flat platens on it. I recommend flat platen. You got to get that vacuum down because the material is so it's so thin that if the vacuum grips it, it'll just fold on itself. So those are ones where you definitely have to stand there and act like tension during the load-in, like actually go forward and back with it and make sure it doesn't get stuck. And then it has to go on a take-up reel or it won't work. And make sure that vacuum should be set pretty low. If you have too much vacuum on a coated fabric, it'll hold it in place and feed it right on top of it and fold it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Excellent. Tian was also emailing with regards to adjusting the tension on the fabric while not disturbing the printing, and I had responded that he can use the dancer bar. Would you like to go into that for the group?
Yeah. So the 315, 335, and 365 use one dancer bar system. The 500 uses the dancer bar a little differently. All of those printers come with a thing called counterweight. Most people don't know what to do with them when they get them out of the box. If you have an older printer, you can call up HP and ask for the counterweights. What they are is weights that go on the very back side. I'm pointing to something you can't see. They go on the back side of the printer. On the dancer bar comes the arms of the take-up reel come out, and at the end of the arm, there's these counterweights. Counterweights were put on primarily for people that do a lot of panel printing, like some of the wall covering or vinyl, where you want as little weight as possible on the dancer, okay? You hardly want it, you just want it barely touching, because any pressure on there can throw off the panel length measurements. But when you're doing fabric, okay, the dancer bar, even if the weights are pushed all the way in, it's still going to have a little less weight than if the dancer bar were off. So I recommend with fabrics, take the dancer bars, all the current ones, the counterweights, they can come right off. Take them off when you're running fabric because you want some weight down there. You want that dancer bar to give it a little pull. If you have counterweights attached, especially if they're all the way back, then there's not enough weight on that dancer bar and it's not pressing down enough. Now the 500 series has 4 positions: inside wind, outside wind, and then each of those has more or less tension. If you're running fabric on a 500, you want to do outside wind, which has the most tension, and then you want to have extra tension selected in the material handling. You can go in there and say extra tension. With fabric on any printer, you want more dancer bar weight than less, because anything that pulls it down a little bit is going to help. I also tend to turn this down. You would think that going straight down would make it, but that actually gives it a little better angle, and I find that smooths it out a little bit. Now, there are some fabrics that, because the fabric has a problem on the roll, it'll have some waviness, and no matter what you do, the dancer bar can't pull that waviness out, and you keep kind of getting scratches. It's just more of a defect in the fabric, and that's why I think like some of the top value stuff is important, because they do a good job of ensuring that doesn't happen. Also, I almost never use edge guards on fabric. They just get in the way. They don't solve anything. It's more likely to have a problem. And if there is an issue, with the head kind of getting on the edge of the fabric, it's no big deal if it's fabric. At the worst is it stops. And sometimes it'll just kind of rub against the edge. But if you got that metal dancer bar and that fabric tries to get under it or pull it up, and you hit the dancer bar, or the edge guard, the metal edge guard will take out the tip of a print head. And that's what I did the other week. I had a a Dreamscape wall covering, and I had an edge guard, and the edge guard during the evaluation forward and back got up a bit, and that edge guard caught the print head and tore the little liner on it, the film on it. Fabric, skip the edge guard. If it's flat, it'll lay flat. You won't need edge guards. Edge guards, I don't think, really solve anything on fabric that I've seen.
Timothy, I know that the majority of the textiles and things that are out in the market are white, but do we see white ink coming to any of the HP roll-to-roll printers in the near future?
If we have white ink on our UV we have white ink on our latex flatbed, okay, yeah. And it's a very, very good white ink. So HP already has latex white ink on a flatbed, and that's the only place we have it at this time. HP would never tell me, of all people, any new technology because I drink too much wine. Now, when they want everyone to know, then they tell me, like, can you keep a secret? And that means that, like, they're feeding me information knowing full well I'm going to go and say, hey, guys, you're not going to believe what I know. So I'm the last person they tell. They would never tell me anything, and that's really good. I don't want to know.
Okay. So
I don't know. I have no clue. Let me put it this way. HP always innovates. HP has white ink already. We have it on latex. You know, I'm not saying I know anything, but it just seems kind of like sooner or later we're going to get around to, you know, we would look at a market and say, does it make sense? How much white ink do people really use? What do they use the printers for? How much value is this? Because white ink, I think, to a certain extent is cool, but how much white ink printing do people really do? And I think if your shops are honest and we break down how much white ink use they actually do, it's a very, very small sliver of their operation. When we make printers, we make a 6-color printer, for example, because we want to get the most gamut, but not sacrifice productivity and speed. So yeah, we could go to 12-color or 8-color. We have printers like that already in DesignJet, but in a production market, those don't make sense, and it's just overcomplicating things. We stick to the meat and potatoes of any market and try to keep things simple. So those questions would have to be analyzed by HP's, you know, higher ups on the value of doing that, transferring it, inventing it, because a lot of white ink can really be addressed best on flatbeds, which is where we put it.
Okay, thank you. And now Etienne's been very patient in waiting for you to talk about reflective.
Oh,
so if you could share that with us, that'd be great.
So I have my reflective signage here. I have high-intensity prismatics, so we sell mostly 3M, or we don't sell 3M, but we partner with 3M on this. 3M 680 engineering grade, and then also, you know, my no hipsters sign, and then, you know, do not enter is like 3900 series. All of those are printable. I'm going to give you the US spec, which is probably the same for Canada. Anything you're printing black, you're good to go for US Federal Highway. Black on all of it. Warranty, no problem. Any of the latex printers. If you want to print colors and have them federally highway certified, like, you know, some of this handicap signage here, if you wanted that to be some of these detour, anything that wants to be federally highway, it's a 365 with a special version of Flexi that has all of the presets and the color builds built into it. I think it's about $800 for the software, and that's designed to be federal highway certified, printing black and colors. So that's the true dedicated. It'll still do all the other stuff, but that's the software you have to do it. If you're printing colors for the Chick-fil-A parking lot, or in your case, Tim Hortons parking lot, well, Tim Hortons is not federal anything. It's just Tim Hortons. And if they want to put them up, they'll look great. We have the presets for them. You could use any of the latex printers. I could use the 315 behind me. It's just it can't be on the federal highway because of the rules on that, but it would still be perfectly applicable to any private property or anything once you're off the highways. Okay? So all printable, all viable, presets for all of it. We've evaluated all of it. Our stuff is all directed to 3M because that was our testing methodology. And here's the good news. Our warranties on this are between 10 and 13 years. I think 13, maybe it's 12. Anyway, a decade, over a decade, certified to be outside. And it's 3M's lamination and everything else, but yeah, definitely doable. We do a lot of it. We compete against the Muto kind of single channel printers. But with the latex, you can do this and do all this other stuff. You know, you're not just locked into one application.
Excellent.
And by the way, the Avery and the Optical works too. We just haven't built around it like we did with 3M, but Avery works fine and Optical works fine. I would expect all of them will. They might have a little different temperature signatures, but you could probably take the 3M product and apply it, make some minor adjustments, and it would work fine.
Okay. I was typing hopefully as fast as you were talking, so I've got that in the notes and the chats at the side.
Okay.
Okay. Outside of that, I don't see any other pressing questions at the moment. If anyone has anything else, we'll give you a moment to type it in. Outside of that, Timothy, I think we might be all good.
We are. Thank you very much for joining us, and hopefully your spring comes soon. And all we have is rain, but it's warm rain.
Well,
it's warm. It's warm rain.
We're just hoping that everybody all stays safe as we all go forward together. So.
Absolutely. So we're going to do a lot more of these videos. You guys ever want any more information or anything? You know, I have a camera and I can turn it on anytime, so it's very easy to do.
I did put a note in the comments as well for everyone with regards to the Zoom videos that are available. So if anyone does require a specific demonstration on a specific piece of HP equipment, they can be booked through your ND Graphics local sales representative, and in combination with Timothy, you can sort of get a live quasi one-on-one presentation where you can do your thing that way.
That's right.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your time, everyone. Thank you very much, Timothy.
Thank you.
And
bye.
Thank you. Have a great day. Take care.